Good evening, everyone. My name is Rohan, and my presentation topic is emerging developments and other issues and counter trade. First, let's see the challenges in international business. Some of the international business challenges are international company structure, foreign laws and regulations, international accounting, calculation and global pricing strategy, universal payment methods, currency rates, communication difficulties and cultural differences, political risk, supply chain complexity and risk of labor exploitation. Let's see it one by one. First one is international company structure. If your aim is to be competitive globally, you must have a team in place that's up for the challenge. One fundamental consideration is the structure of your organization and the location of your team. For instance, will your company be run from one central headquarters, or will you have officers and representatives on the ground in key market abroad? If so, how will these teams be organized? What autonomy will they have? And how will they coordinate working across time zones? If not, will you consider hiring local market experts who understand the culture of your target market but will work centrally? We have to see all these points. Next one is foreign laws and regulations. Here, along with getting your company structure in place, gaining a comprehensive understanding of the local laws and regulations governing your target market is key. From tax implications through to trading laws, navigating legal requirements is a central function for any successful international business. Eligibility to trade is a significant consideration, as are potential tariffs and the legal cost associated with entering new markets. The next one is international accounting. Accounting can present a challenge to multinational businesses who may be liable for corporation tax abroad. Different tax system, rates and compliances requirements can make the accounting function of a multinational organization significantly challenging. Next point is cost calculation and global pricing strategy. Setting the price for your products and services can present challenges when doing business overseas and should be another major consideration of your strategy. You must consider cost to remain competitive while still ensuring profit. Researching the pricing of direct local market competitors can give you a benchmark. However, it remains essential to ensure the math still works in your favor. Next point is universal payment methods. The proliferation of international e-commerce websites has made selling goods overseas easier and more affordable for businesses and consumers. However, payment methods are commonly accepted in your home market might be unavailable abroad. Determining acceptable payment methods and ensuring secure processing must be a central consideration for your business who seeks to trade internationally. The next point is currency rates. While price setting and payment methods are major considerations, currency rate fluctuations is one of the most challenging international business problems to navigate. Monitoring exchange rates must therefore be a central part of the strategy for all international business. However, global economic volatility can make forecasting profit especially difficult, particularly when rates fluctuate at unpredictable levels. Next one is communication difficulties and cultural differences. Good communication is at the heart of effective international business strategy. However, communicating across cultures can be a very real challenge. Next point is political risk. An obvious risk for international business is political uncertainty and instability. Countries and emerging markets that may offer considerable opportunities for expanding global business may also pose challenges. The last point is supply chain complexity and risk of labor exploitation. When it comes to sourcing products and services from overseas, managing suppliers and supply chains can also be a tricky process. Unfortunately, the length and competitive of supply chains increases the chance of working with suppliers who have unethical and even illegal business practices. Of growing concern is the risk in international business of forced labor and worker exploitation. Next topic is counter trade. The meaning of counter trade. Counter trade means exchanging goods or services which are paid for in whole or part with other goods or services rather than with money. That means a monetary valuation can, however, be used in counter trade for accounting purpose in dealing between sovereign states, and the term bilateral trade is used. Types of counter trade. There are six main types of counter trades are there. That is barter, switch trading, counter purchase, buyback, offset, compensation trade. First one is barter. That means exchange of goods or services directly for other goods or services without the use of money as means of purchase or payment. Here, barter is the direct exchange of goods between two parties in a transaction. The principal exports are paid for with goods or services supplied from the importing market. A single contract covers both flows. In its simplest form involves no cash. In practice, supply of the principal exports is often held up until insufficient revenues have been earned from the sale of bartered goods. One of the largest barter deals to date involved occasionally. One of the largest barter deals to date involved Occidental Petroleum Corporation's agreement to ship sulfuric acid to the former Soviet Union for ammonia, urea, and potash under a 2-year deal, which was worth 18 billion euros. The next one is switch trading. Here, practices in which one company sells to another its obligation to make a purchase in a given country. This is a simple trading where a practice in which one company sells to another its obligations to make a purchase in a given country. The next one is counter purchase. Here, Sale of goods and services to one company in other country by a company that promises to make a future purchase of a specific product from the same company in that country. Next one is buyback. Buyback occurs when a firm builds a plant in a country or supplies technology, equipments, training, or other services to the country and agrees to take a certain percentage of the plant's output as partial payment for the contract. Next one is offset. Offset, here it is an agreement that a company will offset a hard currency purchase of an unspecified product from that nation in the future. Agreement by one nation to buy a product from another, subject to the purchase of some or all of the components and raw materials from the buyer of the finished products or the assembly of such product in the buyer nation. The next one is compensation trade. Here, compensation trade is a form of barter in which one of the flows is partly in goods and partly in hard currency. Compensation trade is nothing but here a form of barter in which one of the flows is partly in goods and partly in hard currencies. Necessity. Now let's see the necessity of counter trade. Counter trade also occurs when countries lack sufficient hard currency or when other types of market trade are impossible. Let's see it in brief. In 2000, India and Iraq agreed on an oil for wheat and rice barter deal, subject to untitled nations approval under Article 50 of the UN Persian Gulf War sanctions that would facilitate 3 lakh barrels of oil delivered daily to India at a price of US 6.85 to a barrel, while Iraq oil sales into Asia were valued at about US 22 for a barrel. In 2001, India agreed to swap 1.5 million tons of Iraqi crude under the Oil for Food program. The Security Council noted, although locally produced food items have become increasingly available throughout the country, most Iraqis do not have the necessary purchasing power to buy them. Unfortunately, the monthly food rotations represents the largest proportion of their household income. They are obligated to either barter or sell items from the food basket in order to meet their other essential needs. This is one of the factors which partly explains why nutrition at situation has not improved in line with the enhanced food basket. Moreover, the absence of normal economic activity has given rise to the spread of deep-seated poverty. Next, role of counter trade in the world market. Now, let us see the role of counter trade in the world market. Counter trade transactions have been basically conducted among the former Soviet Union and its allies in the Eastern Europe and other parts of the world. The reason that these countries have allocated a big portion of their commerce to the counter trade attributed to insufficient hard currency. A significant proportion of international commerce, possibly as much as 25%, involves the barter of products for other products rather than for hard currency. Counter trade may range from a simple barter between two countries to a complex web of exchanges meeting the need of all countries involved. The volume of counter trade is growing. In 1972, it was estimated that counter trade was used by business and governments in 15 countries. In 1979, 27 countries. By the start of 1990s, around 100 countries. A large part of counter trade has involved sales of military equipments. More than 80 countries nowadays regularly use or require counter trade exchanges. Official of the General Agreement on the Tariff and Trade Organization claimed that counter trade accounts for around 5% of the world trade. The British Departments of Trades and Industry has suggested 15%, while some scholars believes it to be closer to 30%, with east-west trade having been as high as 50%. In some trading sectors of Eastern European and third world countries for some years. And a consensus of expert opinion has put the percentage of the value of world trade volumes linked to counter trade transactions at between 20% to 25%. According to an official US statement, the US government generally views counter trade, including barter, as contrary to an open, free trading system and in the long run not in the interest of the US business community. However, as a matter of policy, the US government will not oppose US companies' participation in counter trade arrangements unless such actions could have a negative impact on national security. So, these are some of the points about counter trade. Thank you.